Welcome to Uncaged, a show that celebrates thought leadership from today's top business leaders. The program provides a voice to amazing executives from around the globe who are shaping the world of business today and mapping the path to the commerce of tomorrow. Today, we're speaking with Jeremy Blackburn. Hey, Jeremy, how are you?
I'm good, Ben. How about you?
I am well, and we're going to be talking a lot about where the internet, where digital media is going. Jeremy is the founder and CEO of Black Ink Technologies, which is the developer of multi-patented integrated hardware and distributed ledger software platforms. We'll talk about more specifically what those platforms do, but be referring to things like the Web3 and blockchain here today and really how to do that stuff correctly. Jeremy, though, before we start, tell us a little bit about yourself and your career.
I appreciate that. And I do look forward to spending as much time as possible on where the technology future is going. But I originally actually started my first business in 1995, showing my age a little bit, and have owned and operated several businesses over the past decades, mainly focused in technology, finance, and real estate. I've done projects literally all over the world, from the Middle East to Asia, South America, Central America, Europe. Lots of great experiences, which has kind of led to the accumulation of all those experiences into what is now Black Ink Tech and why it was founded and the problem it solves.
So Black Ink Technologies, tell us a little bit about the business and what you guys are focused on right now.
My co-founder and I have a lot of experience in operating normal, regular businesses, mainly again related to finance and real estate. And I got introduced to blockchain and cryptocurrencies as early as 2013, and looked into it and evaluated it. And because of my banking and finance background, and looking at a decentralized token opposed to fiat, to be brutally honest, didn't have a lot of interest in it. I didn't see a utility value in it at that time. But as the years went by and more interest was created in Bitcoin specifically, and then eventually Ethereum, and people kept talking to me about immutable technology and blockchain, you learn, you listen, and some very well-respected people that I know became very passionate about it. But it was about 2018 when we were trying to solve a business problem in one of our businesses that I realized that this, immutable technology would solve the problem that we were trying to solve in this other business, which was real estate related. And so having this immutable technology, zero trust data, a lot of people get confused about immutable technology. That just means permanent. It's improbable to alter the data, which means that you do not need to trust it. It's zero trust data. And so the ability to take zero trust data into business products and services was of high interest to us. And so we saw some specific use cases. We founded Black Ink Technologies and began development on what we thought was a solution to some of those problems.
So, a lot of folks are talking about Web3 right now, and certainly things like the metaverse. Hell, we have Facebook, they changed their name, right, to Meta. But tell us a little bit about how you're seeing the space and what's the real underneath all the hype.
Yeah, and I think that's a good way to describe it, which is, what is real? What actually has, utility, meaning that it actually has a use. There's not 5,000, government currencies in the world. Why would we need 5,000 blockchain cryptocurrencies? Right. And so do I believe there's a place for cryptocurrency? Absolutely. Do I believe that they will serve a purpose and have great use? Yes, but I don't believe there's a need for that many. So the hype became almost like every blockchain that was started, and right behind that, every NFT project that was started, it literally, in my opinion only, became almost like a get rich quick. It was, hey, you got to buy crypto, you got to buy NFTs. And it wasn't about the evaluation of the cryptocurrency or even the underlying blockchain that it represented. It was about, you don't want to get left out. You want to buy so that your cryptocurrencies can go to the moon. All the little catchphrases we heard for the last couple of years, to the moon, to, don't get left out, things like that became things that you could never say in a normal investment environment. you could never say things like that as a financial advisor to someone looking to purchase a stock. If you were trying to evaluate a company or an investment from a broker or any investment advisor, those are words that they can't even use. And so,
Yeah.
that became common. And I think that there's been the correction that was frankly needed.
And I think that correction will kind of weed out the stuff that probably needed to go to the wayside anyway. And certainly there's some real core opportunities here. But you said that, Jeremy, you've worked in the real estate space, finance space. Are there specific use cases right now that you're excited about?
I'm excited about all the use cases.
Yeah.
I truly believe that blockchain, immutable technology, permanent data will become as commonplace as the current internet, Web 2.0 is in every business. Every business, product, or service can benefit from zero trust or immutable data. And so that you pick an industry, and I can tell you what my opinion is on how blockchain will improve or even revolutionize that business. Then real estate is one of the biggest ones that's out there.
Yeah, I can see that as well. Well, it's all very, very exciting. And it's really, really developed and perhaps kind of captured the imagination of folks over the last couple of years. But the last couple of years have really presented almost like a watershed moment for businesses and how we operate businesses, how leaders go forward. And I'd just be curious kind of how you navigated the last couple of years and maybe learnings or things that have shifted on how you operate.
It's actually interesting. We were discussing this the other day, that in previous businesses, when we went to scale them or grow them, we were heavily focused on office locations, fixed costs, talent availability in certain markets that we were looking to open. Would we have to do training, things of that nature? The one of many benefits that I believe that the COVID crisis created was this remote workforce. We have well over 50 team members at Black Ink Tech now, and here where I'm located in Charleston, South Carolina, we have maybe 8. And so the vast majority of our team members and employees work remotely. And I do not think we would have been able to build the team we did under normal circumstances, meaning that before COVID and the acceptance and the ability to work efficiently with all the tools that were created through COVID, such right now, you and I are at a Zoom. Pre-COVID, I don't think either one of us probably knew what the company name Zoom, let alone what it could do. But it truly has revolutionized the way that you can do business. People can live in places they want to live, as opposed to where they need to live in order to, to pursue their careers and fields. So that's been the biggest thing that I saw that COVID affected, is truly a globalization of the workforce and allowing companies to hire remote workers as opposed to having to hire in a specific geographic location.
Well, Jeremy, anyone who's been to Charleston, South Carolina, you better not have your team come visit you, or they're all going to come live at your house.
Yeah. No. Well, interestingly enough, a lot of my team is in Florida. There's some that are still in the Northeast. I personally love New York City. But the weather in Charleston is amazing. If you look at San Diego, Charleston, they're both pretty great locations weather-wise, and those were where I think a lot of people are looking to relocate or are relocating. I mean, Charleston is booming. The Intermountain West is booming, and a reason for it is a lot of people are trying to live where they want to live as opposed to where they have to live. So yeah, I agree with you completely. It's a great place to live.
Yeah, no, I agree with what you were saying before too. Just tongue in cheek, obviously Charleston's a wonderful place to be, but the idea of tapping into talent across the country as well as internationally has been amazing. And whilst you hear JP, is it Diamond always saying that everyone needs to get back to the office at JP Morgan, you wonder if he's missing a trick on that one, But I mean, tell me a little bit now about where things are going to be evolving, Jeremy. I mean, you're in this space where everyone's talking about blockchain, everyone's talking about Web3. What's on the docket for 2023?
Through that COVID period, as you referenced at the opening, Black Ink Technologies has developed a platform essentially that is both hardware and software based. And it's called Chainit, literally right off of blockchain. And so Chainit is the ability to take products and services, or specifically objects and events, and create a functional equivalent data token, meaning that the data token that we create, which is part of that family of NFTs. People used to say blockchain and they would immediately think of cryptocurrency. And while cryptocurrency is part of the blockchain world, if you will, the actual blockchains themselves do not need to produce a cryptocurrency to be immutable. There are many ways to form blockchains, I think, as people know. And right along that same token is that NFTs have been associated with mainly digital art. And that's been a lot of what their general public perception is. But NFTs literally stands for non-fungible token. That just means it's digitally unique. And so it just means it's a unique data file that could be almost anything: an image, a video, a data file, a document. They all can be NFTs. And so we call our NFTs validated data tokens. And what we do, which is a little unique, is that we create a validated data token, which is just what the name says. It's a token that you have the ability to validate or audit the metadata associated with the token. And so unlike some of the other NFTs that are out there, if we do a real estate token or a validated data token for real estate, we collect key metadata points of where, when, who, and what. And we do that through very specific technology of GPS, biometrics. We actually use the blockchain for timestamping. The immutable nature of blockchain is great, because if you use it to timestamp or prove when something occurred through a hash, which is a little technical, but recording something on a blockchain gives you a definitive time period that can be referred to digitally very easily. And so we use blockchain for when references. And then we use unique object identification, which could be, beacons, barcodes, RFIDs to identify or associate with objects and services again. But when we create a token, in our platform, anybody that's viewing that token can actually touch audit, which is a feature of our platform, the metadata associated with that token. And so you can yourself validate and see where something occurred, when it occurred, who was a stakeholder or a participant in that, and then lastly, what it was that it occurred. And this is literally the purpose for which Black Ink Tech was founded for, which is if we were looking at blockchain and the ability to tokenize or put physical objects and events onto the blockchain. You've probably heard me say, or my team has many times, just by putting something on the blockchain doesn't change the requirements, the laws, the duties, and the obligations associated with a business product or service that exists now. If I want to take something and put it on the blockchain, I have to do it in a way that I meet the regulations, laws, obligations, and duties that exist. Otherwise, I'm not fulfilling the mission of blockchain, which was to make life easier, make life simpler. And what we say is that Chainit does just that. We make the complex simple, and we make everything easy. And we do that through transparent data, which is permanent, meaning it can't be altered, so that it is zero trust. Just like a blockchain is supposed to be, the data is zero trust. And with zero trust data, that removes a lot of friction associated with products and services. And that token can now be used digitally, whether it's in the Web 3.0, the current Web 2.0, or even the metaverse, as a true functional equivalent token of the physical object or service. And so by enabling physical objects and services to be allowed to be used digitally, we are basically effectuating the ability to take Web 3.0 and the metaverse to this amazing future that is predicted. And so we see ourselves as literally, the blockchain backbone, part of that blockchain architecture structure that enables blockchain to fulfill all these amazing promises that are out there.
I love it. Jeremy, one of the questions I have is, we're seeing actually in a lot of companies, suddenly people have titles like Director of Web3 or Blockchain Manager. Is that how you're interacting with customers, or how are companies getting going with this stuff?
Black Ink Tech was founded in 2019. And because we are a hardware and a software platform, it has taken us 3 years to build our platform. And, if you look at some of the things that we've developed, patented, and actually now gone through a proof of concept phase on, we are just now starting to approach businesses or be approached by businesses. I have unbelievable amount of interest that I get, our whole company does, from businesses, those very titles that you referenced, because I think everyone is hiring, a blockchain or a Web 3.0 director or administrator or integration specialist. But the reality is a lot of companies want to do it, but they need to do it in, again, a way that it meets those rules and regulations and obligations that exist now. I mean, I can't go and effectuate a real estate closing by taking a piece of paper and taking it down to the recorder's office and saying, hey, I just sold this house. There's a process. And I think everybody that's in real estate understands that. There's closing attorneys, there's closing companies, closing offices, title insurance, lenders, buyers, sellers, all sorts of stakeholders involved in these physical world processes, that just scanning a document or digitizing something doesn't meet those requirements in a way that the blockchain can fully be utilized. And so our development cycle was, a lot of time and spent on, hardware. We have multiple hardware devices that we have, for lack of a better word, invented and patented, that are very specific, hardware devices, trusted computing devices that allow for a higher grade of NFT to be created. One of the things that's unique about Blackburn Tech is we have an asset grading platform. And, we often talk about gold is graded. There's not an asset in the world that I can think of that doesn't have some sort of a grading or a rating. Diamonds, gold, stocks, bonds, everything is graded and rated. But, cryptocurrencies and even NFTs, there's no grading or rating system that currently associated with them. So how do you know what you're buying has any value if it's not graded or rated? And let's be honest, cryptocurrencies and NFTs are pretty technical for people to understand. And so if you're trying to understand the technology behind them, let alone their value, we believe that a grading and rating system is needed. And so we have created a grading and rating system, that is specific to how the data is collected, trusted computing device, known computing device, unknown computing device, who is involved in that, that token's creation. Are they an unknown person, a known person? And then if they are a known individual, how do we know who they are? Is there a government real ID involved? Is there biometrics involved? Do we have other authentication factors to prove that they are who they say they are? And so we actually have a grading platform that says, these are the stakeholders. This is how we know who they are. Here's the hardware devices. And then lastly, all blockchains are not equal. I mean, Bitcoin is far more immutable than any other blockchain out there. Ethereum is second, but then after that, you get down to blockchain number 5,000. The immutability of that blockchain versus Bitcoin is a significant gap. And so our last rating factor that goes into the grading is the probability of immutability of the underlying source where the data is recorded, which is the blockchain. And so we use those factors to actually grade the tokens that we create off of our platform, so that when I have a token that I'm sending to somebody that says, hey, this is a patient encounter record between a doctor and a patient, that all of those parties to that transaction, the doctor, the patient, the location, the time, are all graded and rated, so that if I'm the insurance company, I can actually see the metadata associated with the stakeholders in that token and know with a surety that they are who they say they are, and then where this occurred. And that to us is the key for mainstream adoption of this technology. Being able to take the physical goods and services from this physical world into the digital world in a way that no trust is required.
Well, I mean, I think that anyone who's playing in this space needs to reach out to Jeremy Blackburn right now. That was an incredible explanation. Jeremy, where's the best place to reach you if someone has some interest on what you're working on the Chainit platform, et cetera?
So our website is blacktech.io. There are several companies that are already using Chainit to produce these validated data tokens, and most of them are listed on our website. So if it's for a specific interest for an industry that there's already a product or platform, those companies are listed on our website. There's a general inquiry, email on the website as well. Chainit.com has a website. There's contact information there. Our business phone numbers are on there as well, and they can reach out to me at any of those email addresses or the phone number for the office.
Excellent. Well, Jeremy, thank you so much for being on the Uncaged show today. We've been speaking with Jeremy Blackburn. He is the founder and CEO of Black Ink Tech. We have been talking to him about what they've been doing. Black Ink Technology is a developer of multi-patented integrated hardware and distributed ledger software platforms. One of the platforms that we've been talking about is really their core platform, which is Chainit. Chainit is verifiably linking physical world products, objects, services, and events to the digital worlds of Web 2.0 and 3.0, metaverse, and tokens through metadata. So lots of stuff going on here. Clearly, this is the path to the future. Jeremy, thank you so much for being on Uncaged Day, and we look forward to having you back.
I appreciate your time, Ben. Thank you.
Cheers.